Imagine this. You're sitting in the conference room you helped build, surrounded by the team you poured your heart into for 7 years. The man who was supposed to be family, your wife's father, the CEO, looks you dead in the eyes and says, "You have 5 minutes to get out of my building." Security is already at the door. Your heart is pounding so hard you can barely hear the gasps around the table. In that moment, everything you fought for feels like it's crumbling. But what happened next? That's the part that still gives me chills. If you've ever been betrayed by someone who was supposed to have your back, or if you believe in loyalty that goes beyond a paycheck, stick with me. This is my story, and by the end, I hope it reminds you what real strength looks like. If it moves you even a little, please hit that like button and subscribe. Stories like this need to be heard. My name is Alex Rivera. 7 years ago, I walked into Harrington Tech as a mid-level software engineer with nothing but a worn laptop and big dreams. The company was already successful, but it felt cold, numbers over people, hierarchy over heart. Then I met Sarah Harrington at a team off-site. She wasn't the boss's daughter in the way you'd expect. She was brilliant, kind, and hated how her father ran the place like an empire instead of a family. We fell in love quietly at first. Late-night coding sessions turned into deeper conversations, and eventually, I asked her to marry me under the same oak tree where we had our first real date. Her father, Richard Harrington, gave his blessing, but I could see the calculation in his eyes. I was useful, ambitious, talented, someone who could help modernize the company without threatening the old guard. For the next 5 years, I gave everything. I led the development of our flagship product that increased revenue by 43%. I mentored young engineers who reminded me of myself, hungry kids from modest backgrounds who just needed someone to believe in them. I built a team of 22 people who became more like family than colleagues. We celebrated birthdays, supported each other through breakups and new babies, and pulled all-nighters not because we had to, but because we believed in what we were creating. Sarah and I got married in a small ceremony. Richard even smiled that day. But smiles can hide steel. The cracks started showing when I began pushing for real change. Our workplace was exhausting. Unrealistic deadlines, zero work-life balance, and favoritism toward executives who played golf with Richard instead of delivering results. I went to him privately, as his son-in-law, and laid out a plan: flexible hours, better mental health support, profit sharing for the core team. "We're losing good people," I told him. "Treat them like humans and they'll move mountains." He listened, nodded, and then did nothing. When turnover spiked, he blamed the lazy younger generation, instead of the culture he protected. Then came the boardroom fight that changed everything. We had landed a massive contract with a nonprofit focused on education technology, the kind of project that aligned with the values I thought the company once stood for. But Richard wanted to cut corners on privacy features to boost margins. I refused. In front of the entire leadership team, I said the project would hurt the very kids we claimed to help. The room went silent. Sarah, who worked in marketing, squeezed my hand under the table. That night, Richard called me into his office. "You embarrassed me," he said coldly. "Family or not, I won't have insubordination." I thought it was just a heated moment. I was wrong. 2 weeks later, on an ordinary Tuesday morning, I was presenting our quarterly progress when the doors opened. 2 security guards stepped in. Richard followed, his face like stone. "Alex Rivera, your employment with Harrington Tech is terminated effective immediately. You have 5 minutes to clear your desk. Any company property stays here." The words hit like a freight train. I stood there stunned, my mouth dry. "Richard, what are you doing?" I managed. He didn't even look at me. "You crossed the line." 5 minutes. Whispers erupted. Sarah's face went pale across the room. She hadn't known. Tears welled in her eyes as she realized her father had chosen power over family. I walked to my desk on autopilot, the clock ticking in my head. Pictures of Sarah and our daughter, little Emma. A mug the team had gifted me that read, "World's Best Leader, Don't Tell the CEO." My laptop, filled with personal notes and half-finished code for an open-source tool I'd been building on my own time. Security watched my every move. My hands shook as I packed a small box. That's when it started. First it was Mia, my senior developer. She stood up from her cubicle, grabbed her bag, and said loudly, If Alex goes, I go too. Then came Jamal, who had joined as an intern and grown into a team lead. This is bullshit, he muttered, but loud enough for everyone to hear. One by one, they rose. 17 of them. People who had mortgages, new babies, student loans. People who had everything to lose. They didn't just leave quietly. They walked out with me, heads high, some with tears, others with quiet fury. The remaining employees watched in stunned silence as our group marched toward the elevators like a quiet army. The parking lot felt surreal. We stood there in the rain that had just started falling, hugging, crying, laughing in disbelief. What now? Someone asked. I had no answer. My savings were decent, but supporting a family and suddenly carrying the weight of 17 loyal people felt overwhelming. Sarah met us outside, having quit on the spot too. She hugged me fiercely. I'm so sorry, she whispered. I choose you, always. That night, our living room became a war room. Pizza boxes everywhere, laptops open, kids running around. We were scared, but something electric was in the air, the feeling that we were finally free. The weeks that followed were brutal. Job hunting while fielding calls from reporters who caught wind of the mass walkout. Richard tried to spin it in the press as performance issues, but the story went viral anyway. Former employees shared their own experiences. The company's Glassdoor rating tanked. Meanwhile, our little band refused to scatter. We started meeting daily on Zoom and in my garage. We decided to build something better, an independent studio focused on ethical tech for education. No shortcuts. Real impact. I poured every penny I had into it. We worked nights after putting kids to bed. Sarah handled the business side with a fire I'd never seen. There were moments I broke down in the shower, wondering if I had ruined everyone's lives. But every time, one of the team would text, "We've got your back, boss." 6 months later, we launched Ado Forge. Our first product was the very privacy-first platform Richard had tried to kill. Schools loved it. Within a year, we had paying clients, investors who believed in our mission, and a culture where people actually wanted to stay. The 17 became 25 as word spread. We offered profit sharing, real flexibility, and mental health days without shame. Emma, now old enough to understand a little, drew pictures of Daddy's new company, with all her aunts and uncles from the team. Richard eventually reached out. It was awkward, stiff. He admitted the company had suffered. Sarah met him for coffee and set boundaries. We didn't gloat. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It means choosing not to let bitterness win. Some relationships healed slowly, others didn't, but we moved forward. Looking back, that 5-minute countdown was the best thing that ever happened to me. It stripped away the illusion of security and revealed what truly matters: people who choose you when it costs them something. It taught me that real leadership isn't about titles or family connections, it's about the lives you lift and the integrity you refuse to compromise. To anyone watching who's facing their own firing, their own betrayal, their own impossible moment, know this: sometimes the door they slam on you is the one that leads to freedom. Your people will find you. Your purpose will find you. Keep your head high and your values higher. If this story hit you in the heart, if it reminded you of your own loyalty battles or gave you hope for what's next, do me a favor and smash that like button. Subscribe for more real stories of resilience, comeback, and the power of choosing people over profit. Drop a comment with your own experience. I read every single one. You're not alone in this. We rise together. Thanks for being here. I'll see you in the next one.